Stan Webb, he's the president of Webb Graphics. It's a full-service graphic design company located in Lynchburg, Virginia. Since 1997, the firm has offered graphic design, illustration, brochures, catalogs, ads, billboards, web design, and graphics, logo design, and animation.
Mr. Dion, I don't have a bio for you, so I'm sorry, you're going to have to semi-introduce yourself if you don't mind, sir.
Well, my name is Dion Lee. I was formerly a senior project manager with a Fortune 50 company, and now I'm a full-time real estate investor. And Stan and I have been best friends since we were 8 years old, so that's how we started our collaboration.
Since third grade, right?
Since third grade.
So talk to us, Mr. Webb, we will start with you. I know Mr. Lee just talked about how y'all met, but walk us through that. Who is Stan Webb and Dion Lee? Talk us through that.
Well, we just old kids from the old neighborhood, growing up as kids. Like I said, I believe we met in the third grade, and I think near the end of the year, I think we actually met and became good friends. And we met because at the beginning of the year, the school teacher told us to draw a picture of what we liked. Back then, I was into cars, trucks, and trains, and Dion was into superheroes at the time, and that come from the old school Super Friends cartoon back in the day.
Okay.
And,
I like Super Friends.
Mm-hmm. And I thought it was a cool superhero, so me and Dion got to talking over that. But even back then, Dion could outdraw me back then. So, but basically, that's how we met. And then we've been good friends ever since.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool. So he was better than you then?
Yeah,
certainly not now.
Nah, not now.
Definitely not now.
You can't touch me.
He slept on you in the third grade.
Yeah.
That's all right.
So how did you hone your skills?
I was always into Marvel comics at the time. Of course, watching animated shows on TV, and I just like to create my own superheroes from scratch. And then I would just draw every day and mess around, look at Marvel comic books, copy what I saw, and then start creating my own characters. And it's been history ever since.
Wow. It's pretty cool. We had a young lady in here, I don't know, about 6, 7, 8 months ago, Joe McNally. Shout out. What's up, Joe, if you're listening. She does illustrated books too, but hers are for kids. One is called, Hero on the Helmet about Colin Kaepernick, and the newest one that was released called B is for Brotherhood. But in this one, you're talking about Buffalo Soldier, and we posted a lot of stuff. Daryl specifically posted a lot of stuff on social media with your drawings and the thought process and everything that you're doing. Walk us through that whole concept of how did you even want to get involved in the illustration part? I know you like superheroes and everything like that, but what was the game changer in your mind that says we can draw these ourselves, we can do this ourselves, and we don't have to follow this already tried and true pattern?
Well, I guess it started long ago, about in the early 80s. After I got out of college, I used to hang around a guy by the name of Henry Powell on Saturdays, and he was an educator, historian, and I would go on Saturdays to his house and hang around, and him and his friends used to sit around, talk about history, American history, black history, you name it. And one day, him and Mr. Clark got into an argument over who were the best, the Tuskegee Airmen or the Buffalo Soldiers. Mm-hmm. And I heard of the Tuskegee Airmen before, but I never heard of the Buffalo Soldiers. So after that conversation, I asked Mr. Bhalla, I said, tell me more about the Buffalo Soldiers. So he went to the corner of the room and got these old dusty books and gave them to me and said, here, take these and read it, you'll enjoy it. So I took them on home and read it and really found out some interesting facts about the Buffalo Soldiers. I think one of the things that really got me at the time, you into the old westerns and stuff growing up as a kid. When you see a wagon train get attacked by Indians or something like that, the cavalry come over the hill, and it was, I would say half the time, there were black soldiers coming over the hill to save the day. And you never knew that. It was like, wow, this is something really neat. And so we talked more about it, and then one day he gave me a call. He said, Stan, I'd like to write a book about the Buffalo Soldiers and aim it towards young people because they really don't know about it. And at the time, Colin Powell was involved with them a little bit. The stamp came out. They dedicated the statue at Fort Leavenworth, Texas at the time. So we jumped on that idea. He said, well, I want to write a book. I'd like to write a book, and I would like to do the illustrations for it. So I said, wow, that's great. But then I said, why don't we take a different approach? Let's do a comic book. And he was like, wow, that's a great idea. I don't have experience with that, but I can gather all the information for you, and we can sit down and talk about characters and the time period in history. And so over the course of about maybe a year, we sit down together, and he got this pile of information about the timeline, the history. We came up with the 3 main characters of the book. And he said, well, this is as far as I can go. I don't know much about comic book stuff that you do. So why don't you find somebody to help you out, to help write it out? And I said, well, I know the perfect person. That's Dion. So I gave him a call and said, hey, man, I got this idea. And with Mr. Powell, we'd like to do a comic book. Would you help us write this thing out? And from that point on, that's when we first did the first Buffalo Soldier comic book.